So the first thing I'd like to do is create a new part studio to show the demonstration for building a curvy tube like this one shown right here in our mini golf design. So in Onshape, I'm starting this off with just a simple sketch. What we're going to do is I'm going to start a new sketch on the top plane, and I'm going to sketch right here, and I'm going to make a circle. So at this moment, it doesn't matter what my diameter is as I demonstrate this, but it will matter for you. So I'm going to choose 24 inches for my diameter, and I'm going to zoom back because that looks pretty big, and I'll click the green check. Now what I want to do is I want to extrude this up some to turn this into a cylinder. And I'm going to choose that the level change of this is also going to be 24 inches. So I'll click the green check. Now, this is not the part that I actually want. This is just like a guide for the path that we're going to use for a sweep. So if you were somebody that wanted to know, hey, when I did the trumpet, how do I actually make those paths to sweep things around and get those complex shapes? This is one technique for doing that. If you think about the threaded mount assignment as well, same kind of thing. We're going to use that exact same tool that we did in the threaded mount. We're going to use the Helix. So I'm just going over to my search box, and I'm going to type in Helix. What I want to do is I want to put a helix around this face. So the helix is just that sort of downward sloping spiral. And I can change a bunch of parameters here. I can change how many times it rotates around. So maybe I want just 2 loops around that thing. And if I type in 2 and hit the tab key on my keyboard, it takes me to the next thing. Maybe I want the start angle to be at 90 degrees from where it started originally. That looks fine. And I can click the green check. We'll call that good for now. I can always go back and change it later. Now, I don't really need this cylinder. That was just a guide to make the helix. So I'm going to turn off the visibility there. And now all I'm left with is just that helical path. So that looks really good. Now, the second piece that I need to actually sweep this is I need a profile, a shape, to sweep around that path. And this is going to be a brand new technique. What I'm going to do is come around to my left view where I can see just the end of this path right here. And I'm actually going to sketch directly on the end of this path. That's not something that we've ever done before. We've only ever sketched on planes, but I'm going to show you how we do this. I'm going to open up a sketch, and instead of choosing a sketch plane, I'm actually going to come over here and click on Mate Connector. So the same thing that we used when we did our assemblies, those mate connectors that allow you to stick things together, I'm going to use that to sketch on. So I'm going to click on the Mate Connector here, and you notice that it kind of makes a little sketch plane for me to work on. So I'm actually going to start by sketching my circle that I want to sweep around that path right here on the end of that mate connector. And I could go in there and I could define the diameter that I want this tube to be. Maybe I want it to be 6 inches wide because I know that the golf ball is like 1.68 inches in diameter. So a 6-inch tube is plenty of space for it to go. But the thing is, this is currently in the same orientation as the path itself, and I need to rotate that. So to do that, what I'm going to do is double click on the mate connector, and I'm going to say that I want to rotate this thing. If you're not quite sure which axis you want to rotate it around, you can do a little guess and check. So I know that I need to rotate this 90 degrees so that circle kind of flips upward. So I'm going to try rotating it about the Z direction. That didn't do it. So I'm going to change that to X. Let's see what happens. It's not X, so that means it's got to be Y. So I've got that circle on the end of my path, and it's oriented so that when I sweep it, it's going to go around that path. So I can click the green check here, and now I'm ready to do my sweep. I'm going to go up to my sweep tool here. I'm going to choose this face, and for the sweep path, I'm going to choose this helix, and now I get my curvy, twisty tube right there. So that looks awesome. I can click the green check. Now, if I decide I want that to be a taller tube, all I have to do is go back in and change my extrude from 24 inches to something taller. I can make it 36 inches if I realize that that was too short. And that sweep will automatically update. If I decide I wanted only 1 rotation around that thing, I could change that revolution from 2 to 1, and it would give me just 1 long sort of twist. I can even change that so that it's only a partial revolution. Like I could say that I want it to just be like half a twist, 0.5. And it would give me just that sort of half-twisted piece right there. So that looks kind of cool. In order for the golf ball to pass through this, there's one last thing I need to do, which is to shell this out so that it's hollow. So I'm going to come up to my shell tool, which is right here. And this is the really important step here. I'm going to click on this face at the beginning. And I'm also going to click on this face at the end so that it shells it through the entire thing. So I can't really look through that tube all the way, but as far as I can see, it is completely shelled out all the way through there. So I can click the green check, and it's good to go. And again, if I ever go back and change my mind, I can go back into those parameters, change those things up, and everything after that should still just follow and update. So I've got that little section of hollow tube right now. I could then go back in and stick that into the rest of my golf course assembly. Okay, so that's the hollow tube example.